Hi Aquarius, welcome to your reading. Ooh, so Mars is in your sign and Mercury, as of today, is moving into Aries. So there's a lot to say and not much you want to hear. Whatever it is that you want to talk about, whatever emotional issue you want resolved, it's kind of a foregone conclusion. It's already happened. It's already something you know. Like, you know where you stand. You know what it is. But Mercury in Aries wants to talk about it anyway. And why does Mercury in Aries want to talk about it? Hello, first card out, the Star. Because I think you're just kind of fed up. You're fed up with how things have been going. You're fed up with the world situation. You're fed up with the life situation. You're fed up with... There's this simple principle that Aquarians work off of. That's not right. And if something isn't right, you really, really, really want to say it. Mercury in Aries gives you the fire and the facts. So you're able to say to whomever deserves it, that's not right. That's not how it's supposed to be. If you're dealing with an earth sign, or it doesn't have to be a Taurus, it could just as easily be someone who is selfish, obstinate, and if they don't get their way, it's like you don't exist. And you, usually gentle, understanding, emotionally quiet. Not that you don't have emotions, you're just emotionally quiet. You don't need to burden others with your feelings. You, from the 11th, when Mercury moves into Aries, until about the 24th, you have a lot to say, and you are not going to be emotionally quiet because you feel like you've been taken from. It could be work, it could be a relationship, most likely a relationship, where you're just thinking, you wasted my time. I put a lot of time into you and you took a lot. And now that I've had a moment to think about it, you didn't give much of anything. Major Arcana, bottom of the deck, Strength. Dear Aquarius, sitting across from you is an energy that wants you to bounce back quickly. Bouncing back from what, Umber? Disappointment. And yes, everyone is at some point in their life disappointed. It's not that. It's not that you're resentful, that you have to deal with what everybody else has to deal with. It's not that. I think you just expected a lot more, especially from this Leo. You just expected a lot more. Sure, they can be takers, but you didn't realize it would be to that extent. And now you want to say something. Now you want to talk about it. That's okay. Talk about it. Because it's emblematic, isn't it? It's not just about that energy where someone's been taking, and you're like, I'm really sick of this. It's about several different aspects of your life where you feel like the hammer needs to come down. Mars is in your sign, like I've said, and for the most part, it makes you irritable, it makes you tired, it agitates any medical conditions you may have. But then there is this other beautiful energy that Mars brings you that you generally don't have on your own. You have other ways of dealing with people. Mars wants you to deal with people in a very specific way. So, what do I advise you? I can only tell you what the cards say, and the cards are saying, try not to do that. I know you want to. But, for example, what is it that you can say to this person about how much they've taken? What tone what words, what mix of words in what sentences could you possibly say that would make this person understand you? Let's be a bit more cynical. What could you say to this person that would make them care? Because that's the whole problem anyway, isn't it? That they don't care. And plus, I think you want more. I think you want something more stable. I think you want something giving. Oftentimes, it feels like Aquarians get into relationships that are almost like a penance for something. Like helping humanity is is narrowed down to one human, and then it doesn't matter if that human is good to you or not. You've got to save them. Please stop doing that. You're so much more than that, you know? You're so much more. I'm so glad this is the first card. It's a way of reminding you, like, come on, Aquarius. And yes, everyone is sad when they're taken from. And yes, everyone feels hurt. And yes, everyone gets angry about it. And maybe you get tired of hearing this, but you're too good for it. And I think you've always known that, which is why you don't behave this way. But Mars and Mercury are playing a dangerous game with you. They really want you to act out. I'm not gonna lie, there's probably a lot of satisfaction in it if you do it. But something being satisfying and something being productive is very different. That's literally my stomach growling. I don't know why. Hunger? There is a hunger for resolution. There is a hunger for justice. There is a hunger for, dare I say it, even some attention. But not like you're thirsty for attention. It's just like, you owe me, buddy. And then Temperance and the Devil. So Sagittarius and Capricorn season. Now, the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn was perfected on the 4th. And for you, that really does mean that you have some beautiful work opportunities coming to you that you didn't think were going to work out. So if you've been stressing about money on top of everything else, don't. Something that you thought was completely dead in the water comes back. But I think you need some positive people around you to pull you into a space where you can even receive it. Because the way you're feeling, just this general sense of like being mistreated, the way you're feeling, you may miss the opportunity completely, like you don't even see it at all. Also, if you're dealing with a Capricorn or a Sagittarius, there's a very good chance that things could progress in a very serious way. So it's up to you to be open to that, be brave. And that's another reason I don't want you to act out on whomever you think deserves it, because we don't want to muddy the waters. Doesn't matter how the water got still, doesn't matter if you isolated yourself, doesn't matter if you were sad or upset. However the waters got still, we're just grateful that they're still, and let's work from there. No reason to kick up a bunch of stuff again, especially when you're not going to get anything out of the person who you want to confront. 9 of Wands. There is a lot of good stuff that you really thought was over, and it's not over at all. It's going to come back around and be super, super positive. Inshallah, inshallah. It'll be super, super positive. You just have to be your best self. Maybe not quite as satisfying as taking somebody's head off who deserves it, but you don't like to be played with, and Mercury and Mars are playing with you. So don't. Just don't. Good? Let's look at these cards. Love you.
You. Welcome to the second part of your reading. Okay. The first card out. It's such a relief for me because I don't want to just go ahead and say things without like the cards backing me up. and sometimes I don't even want to broach something until the cards say it because I don't want you to think that I'm criticizing you. But I'm so glad it's the first card because you do need to be reminded of who you are. Let's meditate on that star card for a second. There's a lot going on here. But you know what I see more than anything else? Giving. She's not pouring the water. She's not taking water in. She's pouring it out. So much giving. Giving here to the material and giving here to the ethereal. And blessed because of the giving. This is an energy of great abundance, but also of great humanity. And I think when you get treated poorly, that's what you have to be reminded of, is that anyone who would treat you that way, they're running low on that currency called humanity. And they absolutely don't deserve you. The Hierophant. If you're dealing specifically with a Taurus, or like I said in the first part, just someone who behaves that way in love, you're just so tired of the taking. Whether this is a resolution you've already come to or something that perhaps the quarantine exacerbated, you're just tired. And let's be clear, you're not tired from the giving. Obviously, the giving is a part of your nature. You can do that all the time. When Aquarians get tired, they stop doing the thing that recharges them, which is giving. And we don't want any situation to turn us bitter and turn us against our nature. In your case, making you into a taker. Now, are there Aquarians who behave that way? Of course. But as a general rule, that's just not you. And then this. There is a lot of pain here. And what makes it harder, more painful, is that you guys are so secret about your pain. You always want to show a brave, beautiful face. And although we love you for it, there is something particularly painful in watching someone with a lot of pride and gravity go through something hard. It's like it hurts even worse to see. And I think you guys instinctively know that, which is why you don't like to admit when someone has bested you. But I need you to not think of it that way. You didn't waste time. Even if all they did was take, you didn't waste time. You didn't. You had to, at some point, soon, you had to learn this very difficult lesson. You had to. And what's the lesson? Give. Give to whomever you like. But once someone shows you that they're not going to give anything back, you gotta go. In this case, that could mean pulling back emotionally, or that you've already let the person go. Regardless, a few days ago, something new started for you, and you may have been reeling from the changes that are already taking place. And I'm happy for you. I'm glad those changes are taking place. However,
The reason it was important to do this reading today is because those changes you can handle. Those aren't missteps. But Mercury and Mars can be a huge misstep. When love and career and the future are on the line, the last thing you want is to communicate out of anger and resentment. And unfortunately, it's just too easy to do that right now. So, we're not going to do it. We're going to beat the system. We're not going to give in to our most base nature. And yes, even Aquarians have that. We're going to move forward with purpose, not because we haven't been hurt, but because we've been hurt and we're better than whoever hurt us. Yeah, that's what I said. Oh, but no one's better than anyone else. That's not true. People define their worth by how they treat others. We define, Aquarians define, everyone defines a person's worth by how they treat others, by their integrity. And this person, they've shown you that they value themselves very little. And the way they showed you that is by showing you how little they valued you. You gotta remember here, Aquarians, people only treat you the way they feel about themselves. So, you've been through it. And now the High Priestess wants you to sit back and heal, for that money situation to fix itself, for that emotional situation to get back on track, so you can receive even more abundance. Most of it, you just can't see it yet, and that's okay. You're not meant to. But you must heal. Don't just run past the healing. Don't run past the processing, because if you do, this horrible situation will just spring up in a new way, in a new face, either as a job or a person or a friend, a significant other. It doesn't matter. Because whatever is unresolved will be thrown back in our face over and over again until we learn something from it. Those are the rules of the test. And you can pass, and you can save yourself by realizing something very simple. If someone isn't wishing and praying for you like you're their fantasy and everything, if they're not doing for you what makes you feel like this, it's nothing personal, but it's just not for you. Because you're going to give them the rest, and they can take as much as they want. You don't actually mind. And all you're really asking for back is to be respected as what you are. And that's when the painful realizations start to take hold that maybe this person never knew who you really were. But you can't turn that into another reason to kick your own ass. People refuse to see the truth about others, not because you're not showing them authentically who you are, but because they can only see through the lens of what they feel about themselves. And that's okay. Because obviously there is great good fortune here. And so much, look, all arcana, so much arcana supporting you, like we got you. We see it, we know it, we got you. It's a beautiful thing, especially when you're hurting, to know that so many can carry you because we need you so much. Maybe I don't say that enough. We need you so much. I'm serious. And you should be with someone, and you should work with people that also need you so much. All right. Let's get right into the extended, okay? Love you. There's personal recorded readings. There's a link below. There's a one-on-one video chat reading session on Wednesdays. I think next Wednesday is sold out, but the Wednesday after, there might be a couple of slots. The Vimeo extended and the instant extended are the same reading. One is sent to your inbox right away, and the other you have to log on and use the Vimeo platform. Whatever you prefer, you can watch it as many times as you want, both ways. Okay? I'll see you in a second.